Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. Whether you're black or white or gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
Good morning, Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. How are you this morning? I just know it's going to come on in 1, 2, 3. There we are. Hi. We have a couple things going on today, as you know. Look how nice this room is all filled up. Look at us. Woohoo, it's right. Well, welcome. Welcome to our friends online. We have a community out there. Everybody wave. That's nice. I'm Reverend Tracy and delighted to have you here this morning. If I haven't met you, I'm here just to welcome you to this fabulous community that is all about love and support and knowing the truth. And we are here to lift each other up. And when you don't have it in you to help somebody else, we're here to help you and vice versa. So give yourselves a little round of applause for showing up this morning. What I know is that this life is one of interconnectedness, and we've been talking all month about community, and today we have our annual meeting after our service, which is also about this community in particular, and it really is a chance for us to just acknowledge and applaud all the wonderful work that we do. So welcome this morning. Glad you're here. We've got some great music coming up. We've got Jeff on keyboards, and we welcome back Rick Dale. And our practitioner this morning is Reverend Drack. He'll be doing a reading and an opening prayer for us, but we're going to start, as we always do, by centering ourselves, taking a moment to go within. So I'm going to invite you to clear off your laps, turn off your phones, settle in, close your eyes, and let the sound of the bowl take you within. Breathing into that heart space, that sanctuary within us that knows only truth. Breathing in love and breathing out love. It is here within that we remember that you and I and Spirit are one.
And so as we settle into this sanctuary within ourselves of peace and truth and wholeness, we center ourselves recognizing the presence in this room, our presence energetically, and the presence of all of those around us. As we breathe in deeply and silence ourselves, we can hear the shuffling, the little noises. And if we're really grounded in our bodies, we can feel the warmth perhaps off of the people next to us. We are all in this together. We are one. Although it may not always feel that way because we have our bodies and our experiences and thoughts, we really are one. Expressing uniquely and touching one another all the time. We are interconnected in such a delicate way. So we breathe into this knowing that as human beings together in a community, we express God in a way uniquely that only our community can. And that it's God celebrating God's self and experiencing itself through us, as us, with us in this community. And isn't that just a wonderful thing? So in that knowing, right here and now, we all collectively within ourselves say, thank you, God, for that. And so it is. So this is a short one. Usually I do long ones, so you can thank me now. It's a small excerpt from, I don't know if you've heard of this guy, and I hope I'm saying his name right. It's Mark Nepo, N-E-O-K. He wrote a book called More Together Than Alone. But I'm not going to read from that book. Actually, what I'm going to read from is a small section of an interview, a very small part, in which Psychology Today, a person was interviewing him about this. So for those of you who might not be familiar with him, Mark Nepo has been clearing the path of spiritual inquiry, that's what it says, for more than 40 years. That's a long time. He's author of 20 books, including The One Life Forgiven, The Endless Practice, and the #1 New York Times bestseller, The Book of Awakening. And now the most recent one is More Together Than Alone. It's all about community. So the interviewer asked him about the interplay of solitude and community and the human need for both. And I thought this was really neat. He said both are necessary, and both have gifts and liabilities or shadows. We all have inclinations toward one or the other, but I think we need to do the thing we're not good at. We need to give more attention to it so we can be balanced and not just say, I'm an extrovert or I'm an introvert. I thought that was really interesting. Then he went on to say, dolphins and whales are magnificent air-breathing creatures, but no matter how long they can stay under, they have to surface. And no matter how long they're on the surface, they have to go into the deep to restore themselves, to renew themselves. This is a great metaphor for how humans need both solitude and community to refresh themselves, to restore their heart and soul. But even if you're intoxicated with the deep and want to stay underwater, you can't. You'll drown. The being is infinite, but the human is very finite. So we're forced to live in this paradox. We have to break the surface and live in the world. There are traditions that are monastic and ascetic, but even they usually have some type of community. Thank goodness for community. And before I step down, I think it's time for some music with Rick Dale. Yay, smiling. Thank you.
God morning, everybody. Look at you. I think this is the biggest crowd I've ever played to in my whole life. And the nicest. Well, you guys are a community, and it shows. It shows you're a family. And so I'm going to do a song about the interconnectedness of all of us that I wrote about 30 years ago. It's called Everything's Connected. And here it goes. Somewhere there's a cloud in the sky, on the wind of the beating wings of a butterfly, and in the air I hear some say that you are here all alone. They'll say you're guilty of who you are or what you've done. But I'm telling you to love them as your very own. 'Cause everyone's connected to each other and to God. Yes, everything's connected to you and
So lovely, so perfect, so lovely. Let's all just sing Kumbaya, okay? It's all good. Thank you. You know, Jeff, he's a helper, right? He's right there, right there. All right, so today we are talking about our sacred community. The word sacred it's similar to the word sacrament. It's to make holy or to revere, to hold in high esteem. And if we think about this community of like-minded individuals, all of these people from all of these different paths, you all know you're unique little butterflies, right? And yet here we are in this room by choice. And what makes this holy, what creates this sense of reverence, is the value that we place on knowing what for us is a very clear and obvious truth, that each one of us at our very core is love. And when we know that in our bones, when we feel that in our daily lives, when we see that and others don't, what we're doing is we're affirming a greater truth than the appearances that we see in the world. And when we all do that together, it's like each of us has a candle, but when we bring them all together, we have this huge beacon of light. And that's truly what we celebrate when we talk about our sacred community. The light that each individual brings to the whole, which is then amplified. Now, why do we even look for community, right? What is community but this sense of belonging and connection, right? We need to belong to, we don't want to be the kid on the outside, right? We want to be in with the cool kids. And we're all cool kids, see? That's how we know. But truly, we're looking for that connection. And to belong to something doesn't mean that you are possessed by it, especially when you're talking about other people. One person cannot belong to another. It's not about dominion. It's about being along with. It's about walking side by side. In our metaphor of the wheel, I want to read the quote that I ended with last week from Marianne Williamson. I'll read part of that. We're like the spokes on a wheel, all radiating from the same center. If you define us according to our position on the rim, we seem separate and distinct from one another. But if you define us according to our starting point, our source, we are a shared identity. So when we think about going along with, it's this idea that the wheel is in motion. We're all moving in the same direction, even as we are distinctly positioned around the hub. And for today, our hub is this community, grounded in spirit. Within us, our hub is spirit, is the infinite source. But today we're talking about community and how we show up in the world as part of even a larger organization than what's in this room. We just had our international conference, and over and over, the keynote speaker said, make sure you remind your communities that you are part of something larger. We are a member community of a worldwide organization. Okay, there are more Lutherans than there are us. I'll give you that. But the truth is we're on every continent. And this philosophy that we are love at our core and here to express that is everywhere. And you are part of that. So these spokes on the wheel extend far out into our world. It's those shared values that bring us together. And it's in those shared values that we find meaning. Part of the reason we want to belong to something is that we want to know that we have a life of meaning, that we're doing something important, even if it's not big, right? So, wait for it. I got it. It's right here. I love what Drac read about that it was perfect, about the need for solitude and community. Like, we all need both. And we do tend to lean one towards the other. And I know you've said to someone somewhere whether or not you're an introvert or an extrovert. But as Chris Erskine, a LA Times columnist, said a few years ago, he said, we are pack animals at heart. We're better when we get out a little. We need more town halls, discussion, hiking clubs, and saloons. It's like, okay. Yeah. All right, so maybe we're not serving beer here today. However, what we really want is this opportunity to be with others in a way that has meaning for us, that opens our hearts, that gets us energized. Come on back up, Emily. It's fine. You know me, I can talk through anything. Get up here. Your seat's right here in the front. We're crowded today. What? That's a good problem to have. Yeah. So we bother looking for our group, looking for our people, because we are drawn to it. Our soul craves it. And even though I don't want to spend every minute of every day with all of you, when I am with you, I am nourished. I am fed. We come in part for companionship, right? If I were to ask all of you why you come here, how many of you would say it's because your friends are here? All right. We come for fellowship. So fellowship is defined as companionship. Companionship has its roots. The word pan in the middle is French for bread. We are bread fellows. Did you know that? It says so right in the dictionary. We are bread fellows. So besides wanting to eat all the time at the saloon, what we really want is to be fed and nourished, and we get that from and with each other. We give that to each other. We're nourished, we're sustained, we're energized when we are in community, and not just in community, but participating in community. Participating, a part of. We get our power from engaging. So if you have ever volunteered for anything in this group, you've received energy in a way that's different than someone who is maybe just coming in and looking around to see if these are their people or not. And those of you that mentally sit by the door in case you need to make your escape, you know who you are. I would encourage you to move a little closer. Now, the nice thing about this room is that you really can't sit in the back of the room. There's only one space in the room, and here we are. However, when we grow out of this space and move back into the sanctuary, unless you need the extra leg room from the back row, I expect to see all of you up front. Do you know how nice it is to be able to see you when I speak? How lovely it is for you to sit next to each other? You know, we got out of the habit during COVID for a very good reason. And I don't know if you remember, but think back to the first time you came back in person in the room. Tell me there wasn't a difference in the energy of being in community in person. I mean, I am so grateful for the technology that lets us stream, that allows people who can't come in to participate. But oh my goodness, didn't it feel different to be back together? There's something healing in that. And this is part of our nature to recognize out loud, so to speak, that we are all interconnected. And we find our people, we find our shared values, we find meaning when we are working together, moving in the same direction. Community with unity. Ernest Holmes is very clear. He says that unity does not mean uniformity. All right? You do not have to dress and act and speak alike in this room. But we are all moving in the same direction. We are as a wheel in motion in the world, that outer rim, in the world, and yet all moving towards what we think is important, which is love, which is compassion, which is kindness, which is inclusion, which is diversity, which is justice, which is action, which is feeding each other. Now, sometimes we hesitate to engage, to participate, because we think that stepping all the way in is a commitment. How many people's heart did a little flutter when I said the word commitment? Yeah, those of you that like to sit in the back of the room, it's probably the same people. Just saying. I realized we didn't light our candle. We're going to light it right now for commitment. Let's talk about that. All right, so the thing about commitment, we think that, we get confused. We think commitment means we're going to be overcommitted, right? We think that committing to something means we're going to have to give up all our free time and our free choice, and we're going to have to work our fingers to the bone, or go until we drop, or stay in a marriage forever, or be best friends even though they're weird now. I mean, we've got this idea in our head that commitment means it's set in stone. When has anything ever stayed the same? Except love. But when has the form of anything ever stayed the same? Commitment means you are saying to yourself, this is important to me. This has value. I have something to offer. Because one of the things about being in community is that you find yourself showing up more and offering who you are, which then the whole group benefits for. By, with, pick a preposition. We benefit when we share who and what we are and what we have to offer. And commitment doesn't mean that, not everybody can crawl up on the roof and check the gutters, okay? And not everybody is equipped to create an investment fund for our center, right? We all have skills. We all have talents. You don't want me making the poster for whatever event we're advertising next. I mean, I love pretty colors. You've all seen my talk papers, right? They're all color-coded. But you don't want me making the poster, but somebody in this room has talent and art supplies and makes a beautiful poster. And that's just as important. That's Tracy. Diane says, hi, Tracy Borchers. Yes. That's just as important as being able to crawl up on the roof. So we're not ever asking you to be someone you're not. We are asking you to stretch a little and show up a little and volunteer now and again and be brave. Move up a row. You can do it. Because this is a community of love. And where there is a community of love and we're focused on what matters, we begin to believe and understand we each matter. We begin to know I matter. Because most of us grew up thinking that we didn't matter. That our feelings didn't matter, that what we wanted wasn't as important as someone else's, especially kid to adult. And most of our belief systems are formed when we're children, and we don't have all the information at that point. And unless we consciously go within to redecide how we want to be in the world based on who we are now, we're going to continue operating on those childhood beliefs, and they don't serve us. So when you hear yourself telling yourself, if they won't notice if I'm not there on Sunday, you're wrong. We notice, not in judgment, but because we care. The Jerrys are back today. Where are you sitting? We have missed you. We know you needed to stay home. We know you were taking care of your health. We know all of that, and we love you, and we've prayed, and here you are, because prayer always works. And that's how it matters to the group, but how we each remember that we matter. Because when we are filled up, when we have been fed, when we have been in companionship, all we do is overflow. You know, you share what you have. If you believe that you have it, it's easy to share. It's easy to give. It's easy to show up. It's easy to volunteer. It's easy to invite your friends. Oh my gosh, we have such a good time on Sunday mornings. You should come with me. Or, hey, I know Sunday morning isn't your thing, but we're having a dance next month. You want to come? We do have beer and wine at the dances, by the way. Just to go back to our saloon theme. David Whyte says there is no house like the house of belonging. How many of you now, compared to when you first walked in the doors of a Centers for Spiritual Living, by any name, because I know some of you have been around for a long time, might have been First Church of Religious Science somewhere, but how many of you can say honestly now that you have a different view of the value of yourself than you did when you walked in the first time? Right? That's what spiritual community does for us. This is why it's so important. This is what I want to build my life from. This is how I want to be in the world. I want to be connected to that source of spiritual knowing so that when I'm in the world, I'm bringing my best self. I'm bringing my full self, my filled up sense of self, so that I have it to give. I have the light to shine. I have the compassion and patience and kindness to be around people who aren't as aware or who are just grumpy all the time for no good reason. I can be with them in a different way than if I feel depleted, if I haven't been going and being part of my community, if I don't feel like I fit in somewhere. I don't have patience for other people because I don't like them. There's still people I don't like, but I can be around them. It doesn't get to me. You know? I say bad words now and again on bad days, but it's short-lived, right? Yeah. Why? Because, oh yeah, that's right, every week I'm writing a talk like this. I have to read. I have to listen to this stuff, you know? I have to remember a greater truth because I pray with people. What is prayer but aligning with the greater truth within, with that presence that knows only love, that brings us through any situation, that allows for healing. What is healing but revealing to me that all that I feel is part of my wholeness, and I will survive all of it. I will survive every emotion, and I will do it well because I have companionship on the path. Because I have a community of people who see the truth in me even if I can't, who can be strong when I feel depleted, who can offer help when I just don't have it to give. And if you think that that's great, you can give help to other people, but you don't really ask for help, let me ask you, look around the room. If any one of these people, any one of these faces in the room needed something, needed support, needed just somebody to sit with them for a minute, you'd say yes in a heartbeat. So ask. Talk to your practitioners. Ask for prayer. Come see me. Ask what book might be helpful when you're dealing with grief and loss, or when you're dealing with conflict, or when you're dealing with difficult situations at work. Talk to us. Talk to each other. Because in this room, in this greater community, in this room that includes our online community, there is a central hub of love. And from love comes more love. And from your participation in community, when you're willing to engage, you get filled up and then you send it out. And God knows the world needs it, right? Your individual world and the greater world. The greater world doesn't change unless we do. Because the truth is, people who argue with other people at home don't come up with peaceful solutions for the planet. We can argue, we can have a differing opinion, but we can also find solutions. We can also find a way forward. We can also know that even in differences, there's still a path together, right? It's kind of like taking a bus. Like a particular friendship may not take you to an exact destination, but you'll get within a couple of blocks. And sometimes if you don't have your own car, that's good enough. So sometimes we need to realize that our expanded circle of friends and acquaintances also deserve our love and attention. We don't have to be best friends with everybody. But when we know ourselves, when we know that we're part and grounded in a community like this, well then, I'm friends with my barista. Of course, I see her a couple times a day. That helps. But a day, yes. A day. Did I say a day? Yeah. For those of you that go a couple times a month, you'll have to work a little harder at being friends with your barista. Or you could go more often. That helps too. But the truth is, when we know that we matter, when we know that we're part of a community of love, when we're anchored in our own spiritual practice that says the greater truth of life is love and light, we are different in the world. And that difference creates peace. That difference creates kindness and compassion. Because when we are expressing ourselves, we are energizing and empowering ourselves. I'll be there in a second. So here's the thing. You know, once a year we have our annual meeting. In one way, it's committing to the community again, that you're here, you're a member, you're engaged, you're invested. This is our house together. If you were a single parent, or you know a single parent, or you're having to raise your grandkids, or you don't have a community or family around to help you with the kids or the grandkids, you know how exhausting it is to think you have to make every decision yourself, right? To think that you have to be it's like there's nobody there to take over if you didn't get enough sleep last night. The kid still needs to eat dinner. You got to show up, right? When we're in community, what we're doing is we're saying to each other, look, you don't have to do this all by yourself. We do this together. We do this together. And when we're able to do that, we are all lifted and uplifted because we recognize our connection, right? And when you feel connected, how you feel attracts more of the same. When you feel happy to be with people, you're happy when you walk out the door. That's what you're going to attract more of. This is straight science of mind stuff, folks. This is what we teach all the time. We have a shared journey fueled by love. And I am so grateful for all of you that share it with each other, with me, with this community at large. Doesn't matter in any given moment how it looks, because we always come back to who and how we love. And that is the power of life. That is the power of belonging. That is being bread fellows with people. That is coming home. Home is ultimately not about a place to live. It's about the people with whom you feel most fully alive. Home is about love, relationship, community, and belonging, and we are all searching for home. And I truly believe we have found it here. Namaste. Okay, let's take a moment and anchor that in prayer. So once again, closing your eyes, breathing in, breathing out, letting yourself feel the energy in the room. You can almost touch it. For what radiates from each heart into this space, both physically and metaphysically, is that love at the core of our being. Wrap yourself up in it. anchor yourself in this sense of the presence of where I belong, that I have found a home, that I am in my right place. For the truth of life is always divine right action. And whatever it has taken to get to this moment brought us to this moment. And it is good and very good. And I speak a word of healing and wholeness for any place, any heart, any mind that does not feel whole. I speak my word for healing, that wholeness is revealed in the process of being connected. That the right words, the right people, the right resources, the right books, the right information, the right hug shows up at just the right time to bring that healing to the surface, to reveal the wholeness that is always there, to find yet another way for love to express in and through and as each one of us. I am so very, very grateful. Grateful for this teaching which offers a perspective of inclusivity, of compassion, of kindness. Grateful for these like-minded souls sharing this spiritual journey. Those we have lost, those who are here, those we have yet to meet. For in the continuum of time, I know that there is only forward motion, that upward spiral, if you will, of all that is becoming. And we are that. We are that path. We are the companions. We are the love. We are the light. And how grateful I am that I see that everywhere, in everyone. And I know that in the consciousness of the one mind, as I believe and as I speak, it is made manifest. And so even here, even now, Spirit unfolds as love in every heart. And for that we are all truly blessed, and I simply let it be so. And so it is. All right. And that's the proof right there. I am so energized right now. We could do all, we want to paint the building when we're done here? Because we got a lot to do. Yeah, all right. Okay. We have an affirmation in your bulletin. I invite you to repeat after me, and that includes those of you at home. Play along, please. I am the heart and hands of my community. The light of love shines through me. And so it is. All right, let's have a little more music. Let's welcome Rick Dale back up to the front.
More wisdom. Well, y'all are a community, and so you stick together, and there's your glue. Crazy glue. But good crazy. How many of you are exalted beings?
Oh, all exalted. Raise your hands. Pay attention here. You were listening, right?
Well, this is a song by Jason Mraz about that kinda, and it's called Live High.
Not Diane, not that kind.
Whatever floats your boat. Try to picture a girl through a looking glass. See her as a carbon atom. See her eyes and stare back at them. See that girl as her own new world. Though her home is on the surface, she is still a universe. Live mighty, oh, live righteously. Take it easy, live high. Live mighty, oh, live righteously. I try to picture a man to always have an open hand. I'll see him as a giving tree. See him as a matter of fact, he's not a beast. No, not the devil either. Always a good deed doer. And it's laughter that will make it after all. The call of the wild is given in order nationwide. In the order of the primates, all our politics are too late. Oh my, the congregation in my mind, and I simply smile and gratitude. Sing good loving and true. Live high, live mighty, oh, live righteously. Live high, live mighty, oh, live righteously. And sing it out, just take it easy and celebrate the malleable reality. You see, nothing's ever as it seems. Yeah, this life is but a dream. Look up to the Almighty. Raise your hands and start acknowledging. Oh, you live righteously. Just take it easy, live high. Oh, live righteously. Take it easy, live high. Oh, live and just take it easy.
Woo! One more round of applause. That was fabulous. All right, let's take a moment and do our prosperity affirmation for all of the giving and receiving that takes place in this room. I don't need to tell you how much we live the principle of circulation, and it's all because of all of you. And again, it's that individual expression that becomes the beacon for the whole community. So know in your hearts that whatever you can and do give, it is appreciated and it is multiplied. So say with me, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now, and that is the truth. For those of you here in the room, the baskets are in the back on your way out. And for those of you online, there's a donate button on our website and also in our weekly email. Okay, so we have a couple things going on. Let's start by saying thank you, Betty, for the beautiful flowers today. Aren't those lovely? Okay, so, all right, there have been custom flower arrangements in the last couple months where the florist gives us these cardboard holders for them, and there were some that were in crystal vases. Those were actually vases that Andy borrowed from St. Ambrose for our flowers. So if you happen to have taken them home with your flowers, because the flowers were yours, could you maybe bring the vases back so we can give them back to the other church? That would be lovely. Think about that. If you took flowers home in a vase, bring the vase back. Thank you. Okay. Before we get to the annual meeting stuff, which is right after service, we've got Gateway meeting at its new time. We have meditation at 5, the Gateway service here in the chapel on Wednesday nights at 5:30. That allows for a little more ease of driving before it gets totally dark, which means more of you can come. Do this. Yes. We have great discussions, great presentations, a little bit of everything. We're doing some visioning. We're having different people come to present. We're having conversations about life and love and spirit and whatever else we can think of that we need to talk about. What was it Diane was talking about last week? Oh, I don't remember. It was something hysterical, but I can't remember what it was. So you'll have to come for yourself. Make your own laughter. So come on a Wednesday night, 5:30 here in the chapel. And then stay for line dancing. See?
Oh, wait, belly dancing, not line dancing.
Oh, Wednesday's belly dance. Oh, see, and you didn't even know you wanted to learn how to belly dance, did you? It's really fun. It's really fun. All right, so that's Wednesday nights. Tuesday night, we have a class that starts this Tuesday. I know your bulletin or your email said it was last week, but we're actually starting this week. Yes? No. Okay. 5 gifts for an abundant life. 6:30 in the boardroom, which is in the other building. Do you want a more abundant life? Could you use a little more abundance in your life? This is a really good class. It's really fun. It's all about the gifts of abundance. It's all about expanding your idea of what abundance really means. And I can personally guarantee you your abundance level will change by the end of this class. It's just the way it works, folks. So if you haven't already, there's a sign-up sheet in the back. Put your name on there so Mary knows you're coming. And oh, she stole the sheet. She took the sheet home already, so just talk to Reverend Mary. All right. The second class that's coming up that will start in March, I don't have a start date yet, but it'll be like probably the second week of March, is a Thursday night class called Infinite You as the Universe. It's about our spiritual principles and putting them into practice in your daily life. It's based on that little skinny book, This Thing Called You, so you know already there's not a whole lot of reading involved. See, all the more reason. So the I hate homework introvert people, you are welcome in this class as well. And as I always say, things are better in your life when you're in class, so it's a really fun one to take. Please talk to me if you're concerned about paying for the class, because one of the ways that we manifest abundance is we figure out how we can pay for what it is that we really want. And I promise you, I will be flexible. We have payment plans, we have scholarships, we have all kinds of problems. That was a Freudian slip. We think we have all kinds of problems, but what I know, we have all kinds of ways that you can take this class. So sign up if you're interested. There is a sign-up sheet still in the back, and like I said, I'll get you the date. It is a 6-week class, so once we start, it'll be 6 Thursday nights. Okay, we talked about dancing. Thank you all for the food donations. We have a whole stack of stuff. It didn't even fit in the bin anymore. So we are doing our best to help Foothill Family Shelter restock their food bank. They are in need of more than what they have now. So anything you go grocery shopping, pick up a couple extras, bring it in on Sunday. We'll make sure it gets to them. There is a local event happening in Pomona that you have an e-blast that went out. It's a gem, mineral, and fossil sale. There's a friend of Regina's that is liquidating her collection. Beautiful. There's the flyer in the e-blast shows you pictures of beautiful geodes and gems and semi-precious stones and just a beautiful presentation. Some of those stones are just stones. Some of them are jewelry. So take a look. This is next Saturday in Temple City. I said Pomona, but very close, in Temple City. There's a flyer in the back as well. Yeah. I think it's Saturday, this coming Saturday. I don't think it was the 24th. Was it the 24th? Well, if it was the flyer and up, you missed it. I'm sorry. Never mind. I apologize. It was lovely. Yeah, right. Okay. Moving right along. Let's see. All right. So let's talk a little bit about what's coming up. So we have potluck next door in Holmes Hall right after service. Go eat things. What's that? Oh, yes, before we talk about the meeting, Susie has an announcement.
I know it's a little bit ahead of time, but some people are planners and belong to the Claremont Chorale, and we have another concert coming up. We do two fundraisers a year, and this is one of them. And it's a musical from Amelia and we thought, and it will be March 16th, which is the day before St. Patrick's Day. And it's going to be a Saturday at 4 o'clock. And it's a start $20. And lots of them set up.
All right, so a performance by the Claremont Choir, music by Bach, and a good time by all. Saturday before St. Patrick's Day, $20 a ticket. So see Susie if you're interested. We have a couple members that are in that choir, so always a lovely performance. Thank you, Susie. All right, so potluck next door in Holmes Hall. Then we will come back here for the annual meeting. How many of you have been to our annual meeting before? How many of you have not been to our annual meeting before? Okay, so here's the scoop. Shelley. Shelley ran last year's meeting. Okay. Comedians. We're all comedians. So here's how it works. We start out by talking about how last year went, all the magnificent things we were able to do. We're going to talk about our vision for this coming year for this community and what that might look like. We're going to take in ideas from you because remember, I asked you to think about how might our center show up in a greater way in the outside community. So be thinking about that again. We'll be talking about that as well, so we'll take in ideas. And then we will elect new board members. So for those of you that are members, right, everyone is invited to attend the meeting, to hear the discussion, to contribute to the ideas, but actual voting is restricted to members. Those of you who are members will be electing a slate of new board members. I'll save all the details for when we get there, but basically what that means is we got a new group that's going to do stuff that you get to help with. Won't that be great? Yes, say yes. Okay, good. Okay. So we're going to vote, and then we're going to clap, and then we're going to say a few more things, and then we're going to pray out. And those of us that are on that new board will have a brief meeting afterwards to hand over the president and vice president roles so that our board always has an officer in charge, and so that the people who are finally retiring from the board can, not yet, can know that they've handed it off. So I'll just say that because of COVID, things got a little, shall we say, flexible. That a 3-year term, kind of, sort of, we had a COVID year in there. How many of you watch basketball? You hear them talking about the college years. They got a COVID year, so they can be a senior for 3 years in a row. We have a couple seniors that were seniors for 3 years in a row that love us and are willing to step away from the board for at least 1 year before we make them come back. So, so that's what we're doing. We're having to readjust our rotation so that we don't always have to do 4 people at a time. It'll be fun. Anyway, great food, great conversation, lots of good ideas. The same energy will be right back here in this room after we have a chance to eat. So 12:15. And if we hadn't announced it that way, I would tell you 12 o'clock and to eat fast. But we announced it at 12:15, and I know we have people that will be dialing in. So I want to make sure we're here on time and not start early. We can still eat fast, though, yeah. Depends on... All right, are we good? Any more announcements? I am so happy to see all of you. Thank you all for coming today. Let's stand up, make a circle around the room, and listen to a little Eddie Watkins Jr., shall we?
Take a look at the person next to you and say, God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, 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 we come together in the name of love from every walk of life.